Alright, so here's a little background here. So Dmitri Shostakovich was born in Russia in 1906. Some sources say he was born on some like highway in New Jersey or something, but I mean that doesn't really matter. This is about the music, not him. I'm just gonna, go over this. Yeah, so he establishes himself as this like young, talented composer, this young prodigy, and he gets like some sponsorship on his like first symphony or something. He's doing really well, and sometime like after his like third symphony or something, he starts to get a lot of criticism from this famous communist newspaper in Stalin. Stalin, that guy. He doesn't like his music. He criticizes him a lot, and so Dmitri, my man Dmitri, he needs to like save his career with his next symphony. He had to like withdraw his fourth one because if he released it, he was gonna like die because it wasn't good enough. I guess he has to save his career and he has to save his life basically with this next symphony. So he writes Symphony Number 5, and it turns out to be a certified hood classic. And yeah, that's basically it. All right, let's just dive right on into this analysis. Let's start off with the exposition. It starts off strong, starts off real fast. I mean, look at this angle, dude. That's insane. He's not messing around. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, it starts fast. We got like max volume going on. It's basically, it's driven by the violins mainly. Like there are parts where it kind of switches off to the brass for like a little bit, but mainly driven by the violins. They basically do like the orchestral equivalent of like shredding. Yeah, and it's a lot of staccato, like every other Italian word that rhymes with staccato also. Important to keep in mind because we'll come back to that later. The key of this piece is in D minor. It does not change throughout the piece, and the time signature is standard basically. It's 4/4, pretty standard stuff. That does not change either. So after the exposition is over, we transition into the development, and I kind of interpreted this in like two different parts. More of like a uncertain, what I would call an uncertain development, and a more certain development, more stable one, if you know what I mean by that. Yeah, with these two parts in the development, there's no real like standalone, like immediate transition, but there is something that I'll come back to later that kind of blends the two together. Okay, starting off with the unstable development. First thing I noticed right off the bat is not only is it slower, but the biggest difference from the exposition, for me at least, was we shifted from staccato mode to legato mode. And this isn't just like casual legato, this is like level 100. Like just look at this. Look how many lines are on the page. Like, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone silky smooth. Yeah, so once we're kind of into the unstable development of the piece, we get this flute solo, which is super important because it blends the two parts of the development together. It takes us from crippling anxiety to 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Yeah, so once we fully transitioned into the next part of the development, the stable development, as I like to call it, it's basically held together by this 4-note cello bass pattern. And there's a lot of 4-note patterns in this piece to look out for. But I feel like this one is like definitely like the most, it stuck out to me the most. It seems the most important. It kind of holds the whole thing together. And finally, we get this harp solo. Just out of nowhere. I was looking at the sheet music. I didn't even see a part for the harp until that part. It just comes out of nowhere, and that basically signals like that there's going to be a transition, like what happened with the flute. And we transition from the development into the recapitulation of the piece. The end of the piece is it's definitely the most interesting. It's just notes, it's just a lot of loud notes. Nothing really to talk about, really. It's just notes. It's just being loud, just ending off the piece loud, It feels off to me, Like the rest of this piece is all complex, like especially the beginning with all these like complex violin patterns, then the development with like overlapping themes, and then the ending just sucks, dude. Like, I mean, I know this has like nothing to do with like analysis of the piece, but the ending, like, dude, you gotta do better than that. So my interpretation of this piece is basically not only Shostakovich trying to save his career and save his life, but for me, it's also, I can see that it's him exploring like his own musical talent. Like this was at the time of like his prime, you know, his talent prime, and he really needed to show that in this piece, and I think he did a really good job of doing that. I haven't listened to any of his other pieces, but I mean, this was a really good piece, and no, I enjoyed it.